That's what
You
I was going to
know,
ask you. The likelihood that driver actually goes and fills out the application. I mean, what
no,
percentage do you give it?
no freaking way. That's a 0%. You'll never hear from that guy again.
All right, welcome everybody. We really appreciate you joining us. We've got a really special guest on today. I'm really excited to spend some time with them. So Travis and I tend to cross paths a couple times a year, and I will say that every time I talk to him, I learn something new. He's been in the industry a long time, knows what driving recruiting is all about. So really happy to have him on, have his perspective. So before we start listening to the call and sharing ideas, let me kick it over to him to just kind of introduce himself and talk a little bit about his experience and what he's up to now. So Travis, tell us about yourself.
Hey, thanks for having me here, Seth. Yeah, I'm Travis Bacon. I've been I was a recruiter for about 9 years with Prime, and now I'm managing the recruiting department here. I've been doing that for about 3.5 years, and what am I up to? We're just staying really busy, as I'm sure every recruiting team in the country is. But I appreciate the kind words in the intro, and yeah, let's get started.
Absolutely. So those of you who have joined us before know that we're going to listen to a phone call. And the way we go about typically choosing a call is it's not the best call. It's not the worst call. It's just an average phone call. And as you listen to this one today, I think as you're listening, you'll kind of be nodding your head like, yeah, this is just a normal phone call, the type of thing we would hear every day. Now, Travis and I did listen to the call ahead of time, right? So we can kind of pull some of our thoughts together, but we don't rehearse anything, right? And one thing I'll say too about Travis that I like is talking with him over the years. Sometimes we actually see things differently, right? That his ideas, my ideas may be a little bit different, but that's why I love having him on, is to bring a different perspective, right? It's normally how we get to a better conclusion, right, Travis, is if we kind of debate it a little bit, talk through it a little bit. So that may or may not happen today, but I hope you're up for that, just in case we are. You good
Oh,
with
you're
it?
talking to me. I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
couldn't I couldn't decipher whether it was going to the audience or me, but yes. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll lobby my point of view until you give in here. So
All
we'll see what
right.
happens.
Okay, perfect. I love it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit play. Um, like I said, I'll probably pause it along the way, and if you want me to pause it, maybe give me a hand signal or something. I can hit pause, and we'll get it going. Let me fire it
All
up.
right.
Thanks for calling the recruiting department. Please hold for the next available agent. Your call may be monitored for quality assurance purposes.
Recruiting? How can I help you?
Hey, how you doing? I saw an ad on Facebook where you were hiring drivers.
Yeah. How much Class A experience do you have?
All right, so I got it paused. So already I've got thoughts on that introduction, Travis. But before I start sharing those, I'd love to hear from you. What'd you think about that? I know it was pretty quick, but I jotted down a couple nuggets, I think, already. What are your thoughts on that introduction?
You know, I would imagine that 99.9% of all these calls that are happening right now at every recruiting department probably sound a little bit like this. You know, when I listened to the call originally, and I know we're supposed to be focusing in on this one part, and I'll get to it. I'm sorry. I just thought, where's the connection? Like, come on, ask this person's name. Hey, how you doing? Why are you calling me? What's going on? What are you looking for? That's kind of where we want to go with this. But where's there's no personalization when you're, hey, what's how much experience do you have? Let's get a dialogue, or make a personal connection, and start talking to each other, and as two people, and not just one person on one line and I'm on the other, and we don't even need to know each other's names. It just doesn't feel good.
I agree. And you absolutely hit the same things that I did in my notes here, which are, didn't ask for the driver's name, right? Really, the first question that came out of the recruiter's mouth was about their experience level. The other thing that I thought was interesting is the driver really teed it up, I thought, for the recruiter by saying, hey, I saw an ad on Facebook. And to me, a natural question that should pop in a recruiter's mind is, well, that's awesome. Glad you came across that. What was it in the ad that you saw that made you decide to go ahead and call in? Right. That way, right off the bat, we start to uncover some motivation. But it's almost like the recruiter didn't even hear it. They just moved right on.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. It's like they've got the I know how this call is going to go. I know what I'm going to say. Basically, there is no personalization. We're just going to go,
Yeah.
I agree with that. Oh, you saw it on Facebook. What'd the ad say? I don't keep track of those ads. What's on there?
Right. Right. And we actually learned later in the phone call, which we'll get to, that the driver was actually looking at an owner operator ad. So the pay was different than they thought it would be. So we would have been able to uncover that right up front had we just asked that question.
A little over 2 years.
2 years, okay. What's your zip code?
My zip code is
Okay. Are you looking for over the road or?
regional, probably. If you, I don't know if you have local in my area.
Let's see. Zip code. And you're in?
Yes.
No, I only have regional East Coast, but you're still out 14 to 21 days.
Okay. So I had a question for you, Travis. You being a recruiter for many years, now managing recruiters, how do you prevent that burnout, right? Of, I have 100 phone calls a day, and it can get tough to customize it, right? To have a real conversation, because it feels like I'm just moving from call to call to call to call. So it becomes very easy to just move down my list of checklist questions, right? So how do you coach your recruiters to make it more personalized and have a real conversation with someone when they're doing it so many times a day?
Yeah, that's the name of the game, isn't it? I think that the way to approach it is we're going to have conversations, and we're going to make every one of these personal, and we're going to get away from that script. I think a huge part of selling anything is that, I've heard you say this, I've heard Scott Maldonado say it, many people, the applicant is going to remember how you made them feel, not what you had to say.
Right.
So I'll tell my recruiters, hey, talk to them about anything. I don't care what you talk to them about. I've been on calls talking about fantasy football for 20 minutes with guys before. Establish some sort of connection. And I think that the bottom line here is, this call that we're listening to, and God bless this poor girl that we're just kind of shredding apart right now, because like I said, I think most of these calls probably sound like this, and who knows, maybe she was just burned out and this was her worst one. But I think that if you just jump on there and start a good conversation, and hey, how you doing? What are you looking for? Why are you calling us? What have you been doing? That's going to open the window to all sorts of conversations. And these applicants, when they're calling us, and maybe it's not the same for everybody, but it is for Prime's a huge company. By the time they call us, they already know about Prime. So we're not selling Prime anymore. We're selling ourselves.
Yeah.
That somebody has to trust us enough to travel halfway across the country most of the time to come aboard with us. So, they probably already read that, we've got good pay and equipment and all these other things that every single company touts. It's the difference is how that person is going to, connect with you and trust you to come, to your company. Yeah.
Solid points. Really, really good advice. Thanks, Travis. We'll keep listening, but you just dropped some knowledge on us there, man. Really nice stuff.
Or 14 days, 14 to 17.
So 14
And
now.
then I've got over the road. Yeah.
Okay, well, regional is fine.
Okay. Well, this is super East Coast regional. Let's see here. And we have the Kenworth trucks. Let's see. Let me put you over to my name. When's the last time you drove?
I'm in a truck right now.
Okay. And what's got you looking for another position?
Truck keeps breaking down.
Oh, no. Well, that's a good reason, huh? Okay, well, we have Kenworths. They're really nice, and we keep them well maintained. I just need to send you a link, and then you have...
All right. So once again, I think the driver really teed up the recruiter here. Now, the recruiter asked a good question, right? And I think we could have moved this question earlier in the phone call and started off on a better foot, have a better conversation, really about what's got the driver looking. And the driver's response was that wherever he's currently at, his truck keeps breaking down. So the opportunity missed here is the recruiter kind of talked about how they have nice trucks, but I mean, wow, did she breeze over it, right? If that's the reason the driver's leaving, spend more time there. I don't, what are your thoughts when you hear that?
Yeah, no, same. I mean, you're dead on here, Seth. That, hey, what year is that truck? Oh, our trucks are all, this year newer. And yeah, something to, I agree that, sure, what's going on there? Why are you looking to leave? And I would keep going with that. Oh, okay, the truck, but everything else is good. What else, what do you like about the place? What else do you dislike about it? Oh, let me tell you about what we have to offer. And it's kind of like that here, or maybe it's not, or, there's just all sorts of talking points. And, what I'll say that, a lot of recruiters, I think, miss in the industry is that candor means a lot to these guys. And if you think that, some part of the, I think if you call somewhere and they say, oh, home time's great, and our guys are getting home all the time, and but here we're like, well, maybe you stay out 3 or 4 weeks at a time. So maybe you say, hey, look, we've got this and this going on, and it's great, but man, these guys stay out like a month at a time. It's definitely not for everybody. Are you cool with that? Is this, find some way to just, show them that you're trying to have an honest conversation, and they're not just trying to sell them up the river to, pad your paycheck or whatever.
Right. No, I totally agree. And I think a good follow-up question here too is you got to think through, okay, so the truck breaking down is frustrating, but what's the thing the driver really cares about with a truck breaking down? It's not necessarily the truck, but it's costing them money, right? Because if they're not on the road, they're not making money. So the thing they actually care about is the fact that they're not out there making money. So a good follow-up question would be, hey man, that's terrible. Sad to hear that your truck's always breaking down. What does that mean to your bottom line? How's that impacted your paycheck?
Yeah.
Because now you're going to hear some passion in the guy's voice, right? Of, yeah, it sucks. I get frustrated because now my paycheck, instead of being X every week or every 2 weeks, it's now this. Okay, now we're really tapping into the driver's motivations, right? Just simple follow-up questions.
You have to fill it out. We have a 10,000 sign-on bonus right now, so you've called us at a good time.
10,000
Yeah.
sign-on? 10,000 sign-on bonus?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Wow.
Paid out
And
over
okay.
a year's time.
Okay.
Yep. $750 right after or on your first check, and then $750 on the last part of each month. So it takes a year to get it, but it's paid out, it's paid out fairly early.
So what am I working on? Is it miles or?
Miles. Mm-hmm. How much experience do you have? You said 3 years?
2 years, about 2 years, 9 months.
Okay. That's 48 cents a mile.
Oh, only 48?
Mm-hmm. But we get like 3,000, 3,800 miles a week, so you'll get about 3,000, so. I don't know if that makes a difference, but our drivers do get really good miles.
Okay.
So that.
All right. What are your thoughts there on how the recruiter went about explaining how the driver is going to get paid?
Well, he sounded kind of disappointed, and she just kind of said, "Oh, yeah, that's it." I first of all, this guy's truck's been breaking down. I say, look, it's 48 cents a mile, plus you're going to get that 750 as part of that bonus right away. And then, sure, every company in the country's got service bonuses, safety bonuses, referral bonuses. Start selling those other things. Hey, our average driver makes another, 3 cents a mile or whatever. The only part that I really didn't care for is that 3,000 to 3,300 miles a week per solo driver. Man, you are busting it. There's no way that that's the average.
I know. I was thinking the same thing, and I'd have to go back and listen again. She may have even said 3,800. I couldn't tell if it was 33 or 38, but I'm thinking, whoo, okay. I mean, I'm not sure how we're sticking to our hours of service there to getting 3,800 a week, especially for a solo driver. But yeah, so I mean, maybe they are, right? But if they're not, you just hired your turnover, right?
Yeah.
If that's not real, then that driver's not sticking around.
No, that driver will get there and immediate disappointment when he's doing, 2,200 miles a week,
All right, so we'll listen to the rest of the call here, because really the next stage here is, if you want to call it, this is the recruiter closing, right? Closing the deal with the driver. So we'll listen to the rest of it, and then we'll share some additional thoughts and wrap up. So let's listen to the rest of this call here to see how it ends.
That's 1,440. If you got the 3,000 miles a week, that's 1,140 plus your sign-on. I mean, you're paid $750 up front, but if you divide it out over 4 weeks, it's 187. So plus 187 equals 1,627 a week. So about 1,500 to 1,600 a week is what you would gross.
Okay. On Facebook, it's saying solo. Oh, these are owners.
It's solo company, full benefits.
128 annually?
Well, that's for owner-operator.
Oh, these are owner-operators. Okay.
You're reading something for owner-operators. I can send you a link to apply if you'd like to apply, and then you can call me back after you fill it out.
Okay.
Okay, and is your email still... and that's...
No. Not... It's...
Oh, okay. That's at...
Yes.
Okay. And I'll be working late tonight. If you want to fill that out and call me back, you certainly can. If not, you can call me in the morning.
Okay.
But I'll just send you this link to apply. And if you'll just... Oh, what is going on? Sorry. And then if you'll just fill it out and call me. My phone number... Now, call me on the different number, though. There's a different number on it that you'll call, okay?
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. So what did you think of the epic conclusion to that phone call, Travis?
Yeah, geez, at the end there, it got a little awkward, a little cringy. Like, I don't know why she didn't say, hey, so are you interested in owner op? I can take you through what that offer looks like.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe there was a reason for that, but yeah, it's just kind of an awkward silence. And then, okay, let me send you a link to apply. He's not going to apply. That's not going to happen.
That's what I was going to ask you. The likelihood that driver actually goes and fills out the application. I mean, what
No.
percentage do you give it?
No freaking way. That's a 0%. You'll never hear from that guy again. Okay, so I did like the fact that she says, hey, I'm working late, and so I'll be here. I'll check your application out and call you in the morning. That was a good thing. I try and preach to every single one of my recruiters when I listen to their calls and the way that they close. I want every single one of those calls to say, hey, again, my name is so-and-so. Here's my direct line, and I'm going to send you this link to your email. And if you'll fill that out, I'm going to look at it. And, hey, can I call you by this time tomorrow or this time today? Or, hey, I'm going to be here all day long. So if you want to just send that to me and call me right back, we'll go over it. We'll get this thing going. Get some commitment from the driver, from the applicant on when they're going to get that application in. And, I think the time value, or there's some sort of value to putting some time stamp on getting this done. Don't let them forget about you.
Right. No, I couldn't agree more. Yeah. And I think you nailed it with the commitment phrase, right? Because really what the driver gave the recruiter was an absolute false commitment, right? Of whatever, sure, yeah, I'll do the application. Yeah, you bet, right? And let's just get off the phone call type of
Yeah.
thing. Now I will say, one thing that you and I have talked about in the past that a lot of people feel differently, and I think it's fine. There's no one right answer here, but I'm always, an advocate for do the app with them on the phone. Now, I think where we may differ is in the past. You mentioned that the commitment level, if you send a driver to it and they do it, their commitment level is higher, right, than somebody because that maybe the driver goes through the application with you on the phone doesn't mean they're still necessarily committed to it, right? So I don't know, has your perspective changed on that, or you still kind of feel the same way about whether you walk someone through it or you send them the link? What are your thoughts?
No, send them a link or put them on your website, make sure they know where to go. I like for there to be a little skin in the game and the opportunity for them to reach back out and connect with you. I do think shows some initiative there. And to be honest with you, the way that these apps are set up anymore now, they're all auto-filled. So you hop on there, you press a button, and 30 seconds later you're back on the phone with that person a lot of times too. So
Yeah.
No, I don't think that there's anything wrong with sending them on. And we run pretty lean at Prime, so I can't imagine if we had all of our recruiters typing in a whole application, one after another. That would stress our system a lot. So I definitely lean towards, hey, get that filled out for me real quick and holler back at me.
Yeah. I can appreciate that. And the fact that you add to it, right? You had mentioned before that it's still getting a strong commitment from the driver, but then it's talking about a time frame, right? That we're going to get this done by, when we're going to follow up with each other, because those things alone will increase the likelihood the driver does it, right? Otherwise, they're going to get busy. And we all know it's likely that that's not the only recruiter the driver's talking to. As we wrap up then, Travis, think about, if you would, what's the one piece of advice? Because sometimes we can give recruiters way too much advice. And then when they get on the next call, they're like, I don't even know what to focus on. They gave me so many things to work on. For this particular recruiter, if you had to narrow it down to maybe one thing that you would have them work on, what would it be?
Here's the thing, and I'm no genius salesman or anything like this, but what I would say is that I was bored with that call. I was so bored. And I know that person calling was bored. My advice is take some time and just talk to this person, find out their motives, talk about anything, develop that connection. We know that the length of these phone calls has a direct correlation to conversion rate. So whatever it is, take some time and make that call personable. And, you could make, 50 calls like that and convert, one of them, or you could, make the call really personal, and do 10 of those, and you might get half of them. So you're never wasting your time to just, talk to the new person. Like, take every conversation, every call, like it's a brand new conversation. It doesn't have to be scripted. You're going to get out what you have to offer at some point. Just talk to the person. Each one has to feel individual.
Yep. 100%. Well, perfect. Well, hey, Travis, thank you so much for jumping on again. Like I said, I knew you would drop some good knowledge on us today. You've got a ton of expertise. So we appreciate the advice. We appreciate the time. And we'll continue to do this, right? It's like I said, this is an average phone call. So if we think about this happening all the time, what can we do to change it? So appreciate you all joining us, and we'll talk to you next time.
Hey guys, thanks for watching our video. We really hope that it's been useful to you, and we hope you come back for more. If you're not already a subscriber, you can do so by clicking that little thing right there so you never miss out on our content. And if you'd like to watch another video, how about this one right here, just for you?